A feature within Pear Deck that people often don't realize is there is pop-up activities. So you're going to access Pear Deck by either going to peardeck.com. You will need to create an account. If you are within a school district, you might have the Pear Deck icon in your single sign-on. So in our district, we would go up here to the top for Hello ID, and we would find Pear Deck right here, Pear Deck Premium. Once you are in Pear Deck, you are going to see really three main features that Pear Deck has to offer. Pear Deck for Google Slides, Pear Deck Vocabulary, and Pop-Up Activities. We are going to go to Pop-Up Activities. When I click on Choose a Prompt, it is going to bring me to all of these templates that we can choose from for beginning of class, during class, or end of class. Now, the awesome thing about these pop-ups is that you can do it on the fly. So you don't have to have anything prepared before class starts. You can just take one of these pre-made templates and share it with your students. So there are all sorts of prompts you can choose from. You might want to have students reflect on the topic that they're going to be learning about today. You might have them recall something that they remember from their homework. You might want to do a stress check and just get a pulse on how your students are feeling. You could bring in a KWL chart. You can do a reflection at the end of class. You can have them draw or type two things that they've learned. And then when you click this arrow, there's even more. And so lots and lots of things to choose from. So let's say that we want students to just maybe use a Venn diagram. So I am going to click on the Venn diagram, and it is going to automatically generate a code. Now, if you are in a Zoom meeting and maybe you're doing a synchronous class with students, then you can simply just copy this link down here, give students a link, and you can paste that in the chat box within Zoom or whatever video conferencing platform that you are using. If not, and maybe students are using Chromebooks in the classroom, you can have students go to joinpd.com and type in this code. And so this screen would be on your projector in the classroom. Maybe you want to have this link embedded into Canvas, a learning management system, or Schoology, or whatever platform you're using. You could do that as well. Now, another great thing is I can open up my teacher dashboard and I can see how students are responding on the fly. So if you were doing this in a Zoom situation where you were teaching remotely, then you might share your Zoom screen so that your Zoom screen is on this, what you're seeing now. And then maybe you have either your second monitor or maybe an entirely different device like an iPad or iPhone that opens up the teacher dashboard. So when I click on Open Teacher Dashboard, it is going to basically open up another screen for me to be able to see what students are doing in real time. So I have the view that students are seeing, and that would be on my shared screen in Zoom. And then this would be what I see privately on my second monitor or on my own personal device. The great thing about this kind of secret view is you are able to see responses as they come in, as a list, a grid, or stacked. So I am going to give an example of what this would look like. So let's say that I'm going to actually create another, I'm going to sign in as a student. So I just clicked on that link that I copied, and I am going to interact with this as a student. So it's going to first ask me how I'm feeling today. So I'm feeling fantastic. So I'm going to put the smiley face. And then it's going to bring me directly to this Venn diagram. And so now I can put a text box wherever I want to, and I can type in my answer. And then I might put a second response up, and I might put orange. I can drag those around wherever I want. I can also write in my response. And this little sizer you can bring down so that you can get a finer tipped pen. So I will write in apple. I'm using my mouse, so it will probably not be that great of writing, but if your students have a touchscreen Chromebook, then they would be able to use their finger or a stylus to be able to write on the Venn diagram. Now, if I want to see what students are doing in my own secret view, I can go to here and I am going to be able to see my students' work either in grid, so then I'd see all of these students' Venn diagrams populating this grid, or I can see it in list view where I just scroll down and I can see the responses, or I can stack if it is a question that would be helpful to see all the responses stacked onto each other, like a drag the dot or something like that. So one of the great things about this is that you can see underneath the work, it tells my name. It tells me how I'm feeling, so this is giving me an indication of my social-emotional state today. I can give feedback, so if I want to leave a message directly to that student, I can leave feedback. I can also star it, so when I show responses to the class, I can show only the ones that I want to show by selecting the star. And I also can hide responses. So let's say I want to show all the responses, but maybe there's a couple that for whatever reason I just don't want to show. I can go ahead and click hide response, and then that response will not be visible. Now, if I go back to what students are seeing on the screen, then when I'm ready, can click on show responses, and it's going to show the responses of the students, either in grid form, list form, or stacked form. And again, only the ones that I starred or want students to see they're going to see. And also you can tell that there are no names of students underneath here. So in my secret view, it tells me that this is my Venn diagram, but the screen the students are seeing, students don't know. And so this is a wonderful way for students to share their voice. Students who may not be the ones that are going to raise their hand might feel more comfortable sharing this way. And it also gives you really great information, and it allows you to give comments back in a way that students can get that immediate feedback. Now, let me go over what this would look like in different settings. So again, if you were in a Zoom meeting, you would be showing this screen here. This is the presentation view. As the teacher, on your second monitor or on another device like an iPad or a phone, you could have the teacher dashboard view. And just by going to peardeck.com, when you open a presentation, it's going to ask you if you want to connect. And so you can do that remotely as long as you have connection to the internet. Then, again, you are able to show students' responses by showing right here, and students are able to engage on their own screen. So students might have to toggle between student view and presentation view, but once they do it a couple times, it'll be second nature, and they'll be able to do it quickly. Now, if you were in a classroom situation, then you would show this up on the presentation screen. And then as you are circulating around the room, you could have the teacher dashboard on a device, an iPad, a Chromebook, a phone. And I recommend that approach because you don't want to be glued to your computer. You could also have it on your desktop computer, but then you're stuck there. And being mobile and having it on a digital device that can move with you allows you to progress the slides, allows you to give feedback, all from your personal or your device that you're carrying with you that can be anywhere in the classroom. so that you're able to circulate, check for understanding as you and the students are interacting with the presentation. So again, this is just a really quick way to engage students at the beginning of a lesson, middle of lesson, end of lesson. And if you decide on the fly, you know what, I actually want to take this part of the lesson a little bit further and I want to add a new prompt, you can do it on the fly and decide, you know what, I'm going to do a quick temperature check, and you can bring in that prompt and your students are going to be able to respond immediately. And for this response, they're going to be dragging a dot. The neat thing about this one is this is where you really can utilize that stacked feature, because in a stacked view, then all of these dots are going to stack on top of each other and you can see where they're all populating on the screen. So again, Pear Deck Pop-Ups, a great way to do quick formative checks. Wonderful way for students to be able to share their voice in a way that they feel comfortable. A wonderful way for you to give quick feedback, and it also allows students to be able to add some creativity with the drawing slides and different ways for them to be able to add a little bit of their own personality to their answers as well. So I hope you find wonderful ways to use this in teaching and learning.